Welcome back to another edition of the Redeem Vision podcast. I'm your host, Steve Picorni. It is an honor to have you here. And like all of our episodes, please like the bell, like this, subscribe, share it, hit that bell, whatever you got to do to get the message out, because we believe that there's something very special to be offered here. The Redeem Vision podcast is an outreach of the Freedom Coaching Foundation, Incorporated. If God puts it on your heart to support this work, pray about it, and then consider making a financial contribution to provide for this good work getting out there. Because amongst part of the work that we do with Freedom Coaching Foundation, Incorporated is Freedom Coaching, where we work with some of the most broken men and women to see them walk in genuine freedom from pornography and unchaste behavior through a transformation of mind, heart, and vision. We believe it's not just about quitting, but it's about being transformed. So come break the power of porn. Visit freedom-coaching.net and get started on your road to healing and wholeness. And I encourage you to check out that website again, freedom-coaching.net. And at the very top, there's a little quiz. If you click on the button, it's a 2-minute quiz, help you know where you're at with 4 key areas of sexual integrity, and help you know exactly where you need to go with your growth. And so the self-knowledge is very empowering. Now, G.K. Chesterton once said that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly, including re-recording podcasts. We were up and going with this guest yesterday, and then nothing, no sound whatsoever. Tried even restarting my computer, nothing. So we believe that this episode is meant to be something very, very special. So from here, I want to reintroduce, an introduction to all of you, a very special guest. His name is Bas Rutten. Some of you, in some circles, he needs no introduction. But for those who are hearing this, he's a legendary UFC Hall of Famer. He's a former UFC Heavyweight Champion, 3-time King of Pancrase World Champion. He's known for his dynamic striking and submission expertise. He has retired and undefeated in his last 22 bouts, had 87% finishing rate, and holds to this day the highest striking accuracy ever recorded at 70.6%. Pretty impressive. In addition to being a martial arts a pioneer, Bas is an actor. He's been seen in Here Comes the Boom with Kevin James and The Smashing Machine with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's a coach, a voice for spiritual strength and authentic Catholic masculinity. From a boy bullied and struggling with asthma to one of the most respected fighters in combat sports history, Bas has lived a life defined by discipline, resilience, and transformation. And most importantly for our discussion today, Bas experienced a profound reversion to the Catholic faith in his adult life, returning to the church of his youth and embracing the traditional Latin Mass, daily Rosary in Latin, and a life shaped by prayer and spiritual combat. He's spoken openly about how the faith has reshaped his life and how the disciplines that made him great in the ring now guide him in his walk with God. We're going to talk about what this means, what it means to be a man of faith in today's world, how the spiritual battles we face compare to the physical ones, and how every man can rise to authentic Catholic masculinity in a culture that's constantly trying to pull us down. Well, here comes the boom, because here comes Bas Rutten. Welcome to the Redeem Vision podcast, brother.
Boom. Thank you, Steve, for that introduction. Down memory lane, right? That's what they always say. It's crazy.
Awesome. Well, Bas, again, I want to just publicly state you are very genteel. You're very merciful. Thank you for the opportunity in getting this going. Sometimes things happen, so I'm honored to be able to share this conversation. So I want to dive right in on this, and I want you to take us back to your childhood. Right, you grew up in Holland. What was your family life like? What did faith play like a role in your home growing up? And what would you say messages about masculinity? What messages about masculinity did you receive?
Oh, okay. So yeah, we did go to church, my family, but only on Sundays and on the holidays, of course. And then I believe around when I was 12, I even was an altar boy for a time. I did that one time. I played St. Joseph at Christmas. I remember that as well. But then I think a year after that, so around 13, 14, my dad said, hey, we're only going on the days. We're not really all in. We're going to stop going to church. I did see a book, with the one cell thing. but the science that everything came from one cell is like completely ridiculous, because it still doesn't work. One cell organisms, and they never can become two. There's still this day we don't have 2 or 3 or 4. Makes no sense. But maybe that was the reason. I don't know. But we stopped. And my life was, I had a hard life when I was a kid. But I think I always thought it was a curse at the time. But then, looking back on your life, it happened for a reason, right? I always say, omnia causa fiat, everything happens for a reason. God has a plan. And I think that what happened with me, I had a horrible skin disease. I was called a leper in school. So I was bullied relentlessly. And then I had severe asthma attacks. Every 5 weeks, I would be weak in bed, not able to eat because I couldn't breathe, like really bad, severe asthma attacks. Saw a Bruce Lee movie. Then I realized, hey, wait a minute, if I'm like that guy, because I always was a good athlete. When I was didn't have asthma, I was a really top athlete. I won a lot of gold medals already at a very young age. So that inspired me to start doing martial arts. I started training with the adults. So my neighbor girl that we had was dating the cool guy in town. Xavier was his name. Xavier, you would say in Holland. And he took me on his wing. He told my parents, it's okay, don't worry about it. I will look out for him. And that was it. I mean, within 2 or 3 months, I started beating some of these adults. Dropping them with head kicks and body kicks. And they were talking about me in the dressing room. And I overheard them, of course. So that gave me a bunch of confidence. And then I got into a street fight. And that was the first time I said no more. They came on a bicycle, a group of 6 guys with Shaki. He was the biggest one, the biggest bully in the school. Crazy family. Brother was in jail, I think, for robbery. It was something weird. And, hey, leper. And this time I shouted something back. And I heard them laugh, and sure enough, they started to chase me. And I put my bike on the stand, on the sidewalk, and I said, okay, this is it. I'm not going to do it anymore. And that was it. See, I'm getting emotional now. And they surrounded me with the bicycles. And then Chucky started pushing his chest against my chest, whatever that meant. And then, come on, head leper, you want to hit me? And I did. And that was it. It was like amazing. One punch, and it was out cold. And everybody was freaking out. Right away, I realized they were not his real friends, right? They were just there because, if you can't beat them, join them, I guess. Yes. But the problem was his nose was broke, so the police showed up because he had to fix that nose in the hospital, of course. And then my parents thought, it's violence, and it took me off. But I also never told my parents that I was bullied. So I think if my dad would have known, then he would have said, no, keep him on it. But I didn't want to bother them. My mom had a lot of work with me. Every night she had to mummify me. That's what we call it, like put bandages and on the creams. And I would rip it up in the middle of the night. I had a tile next to my bed, and I was hit the whole time because I would prefer pain over itching. It was so insane. Sure. And then she had to redo that over and over again. This has been on for years, So, I didn't want to tell her I was bullied. So, but that's it. That's, when I was 17, 18, 19, I think, 19. I left the house. Immediately started martial arts, started kickboxing. 2 months later, I was already competing. And then it went on, start knocking people out. And it's like, this just an insane life from that moment on. That's why it's so crazy that I'm now on this path, and I truly believe it's all for a reason, because I'm like the St. Paul almost, right? I did so much bad stuff and crazy stuff, but, it taught me a lot. And then once you get confronted with the church, and you realize what you always have been missing and what it is to be a real man who can completely control himself in every aspect of life, I go, man, I want to be that guy. I had that in fighting, but that was it. Besides fighting, it was drinking, partying, drugs. It was everything, fighting, violence. It was crazy. But then, I wish somebody would have come to me at an early age, like a Bruce Lee kind of guy, because he was a guy I would listen to, actually, because to adults, you don't listen when you're a kid, I guess. Right? My parents, now I know they were 100% right every time they said I was doing something wrong, and at that time I didn't think so. So, that a powerful guy would have told me that, maybe that it would have changed it. Then again, everything happens for a reason, right? The reason I'm here right now is because I can relate to a lot of people. That's why you will never see me judge, because I could have been judged a lot.
This is beautiful. There's a quote from C.S. Lewis, who said, from the time I was 15 to the time I was 21, I was amazed how much my father learned. Right? Maybe it's not your father, Mr. Lewis. And amazing on this, and I absolutely agree with you, Bas, on the fact like everything happens for a reason. There's no coincidences. There's just a matter of, I think it's a matter of amount of time. And the perspective on life. So let's highlight here and go here. You know, you're known in a lot of circles for your work with MMA, right? And you have achieved a remarkable amount of success as a fighter there. So what would you say made you so effective as a fighter there?
Again, it all stems from when I was a kid. I was bullied. And I wanted to just, I wanted to become strong. So, and not that I can beat everybody up, although, yeah, of course, I had a small list, like 4 guys with bullies. Well, they went right away after I had Shaggy. All these guys, I knocked them out. I was one guy who was literally doing this to me. Sorry, Buzz, I don't remember anything what I said. I go, I do. Bomb, and I knocked him out, because I had to pay back, but that was only those guys. So it was not for me. I was looking for a fight because now I understood. Other people are bullied. I didn't want to become that guy. You hear that many times. The bully becomes the bully. I never understood that, because if you didn't like it, why would you do it to other people? But hey, sometimes the mind works tricks on us. But I think that lit a fire. That was literally for me. I never wanted to be weak again. So I could always push harder than people. And I had insane protocols, the things that I did. If I would cheat on a day, if I would say, that happened only twice, because then I realized I'm an idiot. I would go after the work, I'm going to do 10 rounds on a bag. Now, if I do 10 rounds on a heavy bag, with me doing it, it's a different story than when other fighters do it. Every punch is to kill, every kick is to kill. And the last punch will probably be harder at the end of the 10 rounds than my first one. I go crazy. But then, one time I did like 8 rounds. I didn't feel good, went home. But then, my conscience, it starts right away. And at 11 o'clock at night, I can't sleep. Shit, grab the keys to the gym. And I'll do 15 rounds, because now I had to do extra, of course. And then it happened one more time. And then I did the same thing happened. And then after that, I go like, I'm such an idiot. Why do I do this? I know it's better for me to just finish whatever I said I was going to do. And that's my whole life been like that. Whatever I say I'm going to do, I'm going to do. If I commit to a work, I commit it. No lying, no stealing. And these people were like, yeah, but they only stole $100. Well, Jesus didn't say they shall not steal big amounts of money. He said they shall not steal. Whether it's a cent or $1 billion, it should be exactly the same. Stealing is stealing, So all these things were thankfully installed in me. But in the beginning also, because my parents, they were very strict, very loving. I've never seen my mom and dad argue. Like literally, this is their raised voice. If they would have an argument, but that was once every 2 years, never physical, nothing. The most peaceful youth that I had. My brother's smart guy, very good athlete as well. He's a lawyer. He got 2 lawyers. He's the biggest lawyer's office right now in Europe, because he's got 2 in Amsterdam and in Rotterdam. One, they just got nominated for it. So, and he was a great athlete as well. So everything was just nice and relaxed. I was just a wild child, and I didn't get attention. So, you start doing crazy stuff at the young age. I got caught for I think 142 burglaries, right? But never homes. I never did those kind of things, because I knew, thankfully, that if I would break into a home, that could really change somebody's mind and do something to it, that they'll never feel safe again. So it started with schools, and then it started with bars and supermarkets. And then we said, hey, why don't I go in a restaurant and get some meat? And, that was just kid stuff. They called us the chocolate milk gang, believe it or not, because everywhere we were, that's literally what the police called us.
Really? Why?
Chocolate milk, because we drank chocolate milk. And the thing, it was so stupid. We had the same way of getting in everywhere. So at the moment we got caught for 1, we got caught for 92.
All of it.
Because it was all the same. All the chocolate milk, everything was the same. So yeah, we were really stupid at the time. But, then life went good. But every person that I had a problem with, don't push it or say certain things. There's still things that people cannot say to me that they would say when I was a kid. That we're talking 45 years ago, and you can't, somehow your mind, it's real. That's why I always say, what is it? Sticks and stones won't break your bones, but hurts will never hurt.
Words will never
Chirac. In Chirac, it says, in the book of Chirac, it says, a whip will leave a welt, but a whip of the tongue will crush the bones. And I truly believe that is true. And the reason I believe that, because the school shootings, the things that you see what they do, because they've been bullied. Well, they can't fight, so they bring a gun, and now they start shooting. Condone, of course, it's the worst thing that can happen, but I can very much understand. I had a moment, And it was a very scary moment. That my school was literally a quarter mile away from my home. And I was at the schoolyard, and there were trees there, and they started again. They started bullying me, and I think I saw a Tarzan movie or something. I don't know. I was swinging a lot in the trees. I was 4 hours a day. I was in the trees, swinging treetop to treetop. That was my life because I was always by myself. And I saw this branch hanging, and in my mind, I'm thinking if I grab the branch and I swing to him, double front kick in the chest, the guy's gonna fly. That's it. So I grabbed the branch, jumped up, and the branch broke, and I fell on the ground. And everybody's pointing and laughing at me. And I'm running home. I go straight to the kitchen. I took the biggest freaking knife I could find, and I run back. And thankfully, my mother saw me running with the knife on the street from the living room, and she started to chase me. And she caught up with me, and I was beside myself. I truly believe I would have stabbed somebody, man. I was so livid. It was the most insane thing. So, people should watch out with what they do online. Like these poor kids get killed or kill themselves because they get bullied the whole time. It's the most insane thing. If you're a man, fight. Do it with fists, but don't be such a coward to do it behind a safe computer with a fake name and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that was kind of in a nutshell, I guess, my youth. Wow.
Thank you. A lot of perspective and some highlights that I'm getting here. Number one is maybe the Wet Bandits from Home Alone have nothing on you. The Milk Chocolate Gang.
Yeah.
But I love the fact like this whole thing of, again, it was a negative because coming from a place of being bullied. My friend Mark Houck of the Kingsmen. He likes to say that wounds transferred becomes, or wounds transmitted become wounds transferred. Or, so along these lines, like you were bullied, and at some point it comes to like something snaps. Like I'm not going to take it anymore, and going there, and I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, right? And so I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to beat you up. And then there's an intervention from a beautiful woman in your life. Her name is your mother, who stops you from going to a place that would have been very, very dark there, right? So obviously, so much natural virtue was being formed there. And I've got two ideas just to spring off here till going to other areas of your life. You've won a lot of bouts, like your last 22 bouts, undefeated. Amazing. What was your first professional loss like? What lessons did you learn from that?
Well, my first professional loss was because, so I started Thai boxing and I just blasted everybody away. I had like 9 fights, 9 knockouts, 1 in the second round, all in the first round. But I wasn't under control. I wasn't like, if a good fighter would have been in front of me and he knows how to use range and stay out of my way and get me tired, I would run out of gas because I was just, there's such the pressure to win is so much, and your friends and family members, everybody's there, and everything that you do in your nice safe dojo when you're sparring really well, forget about that. That's not going to be your first freaking 8 fights. It's chaos. So you're just freaking hitting the head, you're hitting the body, you don't aim for your shots. It's just violence what you're doing. But I knocked a bunch of guys out. So I go like, okay. They started not showing up anymore. And when they showed up, they realized it was me because it was before the internet, and then they wouldn't fight me. And that happened like 2 times in a row. And I go, I've been training now for 6 or 8 weeks. That didn't happen. Then it happened again. I go, you know what? I'm going to be a bouncer. That was a smart decision, right? So I go to a bouncer. Yeah. But and again, they hired me as a bouncer for my fighting skills. But the number one priority was, of course, the number one reason was that I'm very good with people. So from 10 situations, normally there will be 10 fights. There will be 10 fights. With me, would be one time a fight. The rest, I just take the guys aside. I break everything down. What happened? He was looking at my girlfriend. Looking at your girlfriend. Did you touch her? No. Did you talk to her, Pat? Did he say certain things? No. So she's kind of pretty, right? I mean, that's kind of a compliment if you think about it. And I go, yeah. And then, what do you drink? You want a beer? You want a beer? Boom, boom. I give them both a beer. Problem solved. So I was doing that a lot. But that bar also closed at 5 a.m. in the morning. And then afterwards, we, of course, go to the after parties. Yeah. And how do you stay awake? Oh, there's cocaine for that. And that's all, so everything goes south. Now, when I was bouncing one time, I had a few drinks, which is of course not a smart thing to do. And this guy comes to me and he says, "Hey, Frank Lotman." I go, "The Animal." It was his nickname. Yeah, he's coming out of jail. He's getting released from jail. He was a good kickboxer, 41-0 with 39 knockouts. He's looking for an opponent. You want to fight him? I go, "Sure," but I'm drunk. I don't. So then in February, they called me and they asked me where to send the posters to. I don't even remember the whole conversation. So the guy goes, "Where do we send the posters to?" What poster? He goes, "From Frank Lotman." I said, Frank is fighting? Yeah. Who is he fighting? You. I go, "Me." When did I say that? He goes, "At Christmas or New Year's Eve." And I go, "Oh, shoot." And I go, "Yeah. Okay. Now I remembered I said that." So being a man of my word, when is the fight? 3 weeks. I have been partying for the last 3 years. I couldn't do 20 minutes of rope skipping when I started training. That's how bad out of shape I was. So needless to say, I lost that fight. They said by knockout, but it's not, though something else happened. It's a long story. Well, you can see, I just slept on the ground and I'm just talking to my corner. I said, "Dude, my leg is not working because something happened to my leg. They put a painkiller in it. And it was, you see me doing the fight, shaking my leg the whole time. Something is wrong with my leg. Anyway, I lost that fight. And the amount of scrutiny I got, it was the most insane thing. I was the worst fighter. You see, I always said it. All these 9 knockouts didn't mean anything anymore. And that really got to me. It really hurt me. But I learned from that from now on, I only take a fight if I have the right amount of time to prepare myself. And I think in the end, Frank Lotman still would have beaten me, even when I was in shape. The guy had 41 fights. I had 9 fights. Just, it's not like there was a big difference that I was doing. So, but then I told myself I was never going to fight in Holland again. Not for these ungrateful people. I meet my wife in 92. This is a crazy story.
Yeah.
In 92, I'm a 1-room apartment. The bed is in the kitchen because we didn't have a bedroom. And then she had this really weird stare in her eyes. And I go, "What's going on?" She goes like, "You're going to be a famous fighter in Japan." And I go, "No, I told you I'm not going to fight anymore." And she said, "Yeah, but you said Japan. You said Holland, but you're going to go to Japan." Whatever, right? This is a weird thing. Yeah, and then 8 months later, 9 months later, this guy calls me. There's this new sport called free fighting, and he says there's scouts right now at my gym. It's a 2.5-hour drive to Amsterdam. He says, "Jump in your car, get to the because maybe you can get a job out of it." Because I remember you from kickboxing, and then I see you do the backflips. I always do backflips and this crazy stuff. He goes, "I think it's a good fit for you." So I go, "Okay, go over there." I got into a brawl with one of his students, one of his champions. He tried to knock me out. So I returned the favor, knocked him out. Beautiful high kick, bonk. He went down. And that was it. The scouts were pointing at me. And suddenly I'm fighting in Japan. And then when I'm fighting in Japan, like 7-8 months in, she has the same stare. And I go, "Uh-oh, now what?" She says, "We're going to move to America. You're going to have a TV show?" And I had a show for 9 years on TV. I mean, she predicted this whole thing. It was the most insane thing.
Amazing. So some life lessons I'm picking up from this, Bas, is first, don't make business decisions when inebriated. You especially if you're a man of your word, you're going to get in trouble there. Second, be around another beautiful woman who might have her pulse on the voice of God for your life. Is another one. And then the other one I'm picking up, Bas, is, it's been said that success is where preparation plus opportunity convene.
Yep.
And I think in the midst of that. So thank you for that, for that perspective. Now, obviously, one of the another arena where you are known for is in the acting arena. And so after this storied MMA career, right, you get drawn into acting. So what drew you into that, and how was that transition for you?
It was not even drawn into acting. I wanted to be like a stunt choreographer or, stuff like that. I started out as a stunt choreographer for Holt McCallany. That's the guy from Mindhunter. He was in the Iron Claw Elite. He's in the Waterfront. He's like in a whole bunch of movies, Mission Impossible. He's a very close friend of mine now. And in '99, he contacted me and he wanted me to be his stunt choreographer for his fight scenes because they just asked him for a TV show in Canada. So I moved 7 months to Canada. And then when we were there in Canada, we would be like in the morning when we would drive up to the set, he was just running lines with me. And there was this one part one time. You see, this is how God works.
Yes.
There was this one part of he was a bad guy, but not a bad guy. He was an anti-terrorist guy, but he thought that my buddy was a terrorist, which was not, because he was misinformed. This whole thing, and there's this whole acting scene going on between the two of them. So we arrive at the set, and the person who didn't do, who was going to play the part, didn't show up. There was nobody yet. He was behind, but they needed to rehearse. So I jumped up and I said, "Well, I just run the lines with him. I can do it." So we run the lines, and then the director goes like, "Okay, you're hired," and the guy is fired. I mean, that was awesome. Do it just like that, and boom, and suddenly I was acting, And then somebody saw that, and then I made a movie, The Eliminator.
Oh yeah,
Michael Rooker actually was in it as well. That was a lot of fun. That was with me in the lead already, so that was cool. But it's not one of the theatrical versions, of course. And then I did a comedy. It's called Kingdom of Ultimate Power, and we won first prize at the New York Film Festival. And when Kevin James, who I know already since '97, I know him for a long time now. He was writing a movie about mixed martial arts. Here Comes the Boom.
Yes.
And I heard about it, but nobody's telling me. He's not telling me anything as well. Anyway, so it's getting closer now for production, and this is the first time in my life I ever asked anything. I said, "Hey, listen, man, I know you're writing a movie about mixed martial arts. I would any part is good, even if I'm the manager in the background or something. I don't need any lines, but whatever it is." And I didn't hear anything, and then like 3 hours later, I got a script sent.
Really?
And he goes, and then the script was a major part. It was one of the supporting actors. And he goes, "Dude, you were the first person that was written in the movie. Why would you think I'm not going to use you?" I go, "Yeah, I didn't want to ask because I never asked him. I never want to be that guy. Hey, man, can you put me in King of Queens?" No, it always has to come from them. I can never say something like that. And it comes. But as long as you're not hungry for it, I think once you start focusing on that, I think you throw the whole universe the wrong way. That's what I thought at that time before I got back to the faith. Now I know it's God.
Yeah. By the way, I want to thank you for your role. I've heard about the movie Here Comes the Boom for years. We just got around to watching it as a family. Truly an enjoyable flick. You definitely know how to go all out. So thank you for that. And I will get around to seeing the Smashing Machine one of these days. So I want to move now, obviously, to all of this is set up here for what really matters, right? Can you please describe if there was a pivotal moment or an event that kicked off your reversion back to Catholicism?
It's the most insane story.
Awesome.
Oh, how do I start? Okay. So I started drinking a lot. And then suddenly I would get physically attacked at night by some kind of entity. And my friends go like, "Oh, it's sleep paralysis." And I go, "Well, you can't move with sleep paralysis." And they go, "Yeah." I go, "Well, I can move everything, but it feels like somebody's sitting on my chest. There's so much pressure. And I could move my arms. I tried to, but I couldn't come past this. It's almost like something was stopping my arms. I could put my legs out of bed, and I tried to pull myself out of bed, but the pressure was so intense. It was a very scary moment because if your chest gets pressed in, well, you can't breathe. Your lungs open up by way of chest expansion. That creates a negative pressure between the body and the lungs, and that negative pressure opens up your lungs. So if you can't expand your chest, that's it. You're going to die. So the only way for me to get out of it was what I would do in fighting. Stay calm, and bowl up a lot of energy, a lot of aggression, controlled aggression. That's what Bruce Lee used to say. I always use that. And then suddenly I would release it. And then at that time, I used a lot of profanity, but I would scream so loud that, the kids would wake up, and my wife, and she goes, "Again." I go, "It's again," and I start challenging it. I go, "Don't wait. I mean, I thought it was the devil or something. There's something going on. Why don't you do it when I'm awake? If that sissy thing waiting till I'm asleep, let's fix this. Make it physical or make it mental, whatever it is. But if it's not a fight for you, what are you going to win? You're not going to win anything, because let's do this thing." Then I saw a person walking through our home. My kids saw a woman in the home. I can't describe what she looked like. One day we came home, and I thought there was a person. I told my wife to stay at the front door because somebody's in the house. And I walked to the kitchen, and there was this this wall that, imagine the wall is here, and here's a dining room on this side. On the other side of the wall is an open kitchen that goes in the back with a door from that dining area to that kitchen. So I started walking here, going forward, making a lot of noise, hoping this guy would do this, and then I would make a U-turn and catch him, because I thought he was in the other room. So I started sprinting and coming around the corner, and the curtain that hangs there in front of a doorpost flew up against the ceiling. So I kept running, right? I mean, somebody just ran through it, and there was nobody in the freaking house. Wow. And that really was like, okay, that just happened, right? And yes, the doors were closed. Like friends of mine go, yeah, maybe there was wind. I go, it flew up against the ceiling like a hurricane outside. I mean, wake up, dude. No, everything was closed. So, but that really had a big effect on me. And then somehow what I did, I started challenging it at 3 a.m. and I was in the dining room area because it was always cold there. And it was always sometimes a weird smell. And I would stand under the chandelier. And I remember the hair on my neck went up, and I would just started challenging it. I said, let's do this thing. I talked to Father Ripperger about it, and he was like, yeah, only you, boss. You know, you should have done it. But it did stop. It stopped at that moment. Now, I was still heavy drinking, and suddenly, in 1999, I had my last fight, and in 2006, they asked me if I wanted to do another fight. Okay, I said, let me train for a week, see where I am, you know, and I go, you know what, yeah, I'll do it. And my wife goes, are you crazy? I go, honey, it's going to stop me from drinking. There's no way I can drink and train. So I'm going to have to stop drinking in order to do that fight. And everything worked. You know, all my injuries came back, but I stopped him in the first round with kicks to the legs. Big guy, 265 pounds. But that was it. So now we have money, a little bit more money. It was only, people always go, that is millions of dollars now. It was 225. My fight for the UFC, I made $55,000 for a world title. Wow. So people don't realize that right now it's millions, right? It's completely different, that ball game. But yes, as we said, we always wanted a house with a pool. Okay. So we go to a house half a mile away from us in our same neighborhood with a pool. And we're there. And after the first night, I asked my kids, hey, how was your first night? And my daughter slept upstairs. And she goes, it was nice, but I had a visit from 2 boys. And I go, whoa, you mean spirits? And she goes, yeah. I go, you're not freaking out. She said, no, they're really nice. I said, how old? I don't know, 17? I go, okay, this is crazy. And nothing happened. Yeah, boy kept playing on the bed. And then I said, hey, could you please stop? I want to go to sleep. And then he stopped. So I'm looking at my wife and go, okay, go to the computer. Did ever something happen in that house? Well, in 2001, 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl, with Christmas, poor parents, they went out of control on the road next to us, and they flew through our wall. We're walking outside. We see where they repaired the wall. 2 boys died, 16 and 17 years of age. I was like, okay, this is crazy. Now, fast forward, I'm working on a movie set, and there's this guy. They invited me. I should tell this story first. So I took a lot of medication when I was a kid. And one of these pills, they really shot my complete memory. I would come home and don't remember a thing. So I have not a lot of memories until somebody, a mother from a kid who took that pill, told my mom, hey, listen, is he taking this and this medication? And my mother goes, yes. She says, let him stop because his memory was completely gone. It's really bad for the memory. So we stopped and everything came back. So it was okay. But till the age of 12, there's not a lot that I remember. I remember me falling with that street fight, but that's about it. All the other bullets, I don't even remember the things because I tried to block. I don't know what it is. But there's this one scene, and when I was 10 years old, staring at outside the window, sitting next to the window at a tree. And I can smell the tree almost now out of the classroom. It's like, it's so vivid. And I was completely mesmerized. And the teacher tried to get a hold of me. And suddenly he shouts, I heard the kids laugh, but I could not let go of the tree. And he goes, Rutten. I go, what? He goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking at the tree. What about the tree? I said, how did it get there? And he goes, well, they planted it there. Idiot. And I go, yeah, I understand that. But if you go to the tree before, you go to the tree before, you go all the way back. Where do trees come from? So that was this question that I had. And then in 2014, my buddy comes to me and he says, hey, boss, this guy's going to talk about how the world came together. You want to join? Now, if he would have said he's going to talk about God, he's going to talk about Jesus, I would have said, I'll see you in an hour. I'm going to do breakfast and whatever it is. I wouldn't have said anything. But he knew that. And so he said he's going to talk about how the world came together. Oh, yeah, sure. I would love to know that. That's kind of fun, sitting outside at the Wynn Hotel, Cabana, AC, drinking a Coke, smoking a cigar, listening to the guy. 45-minute talk. Good. So I'm sitting there, and the first thing he says, Leo Severino, he says, the leaf fell from the tree. I go, okay, whatever, right? And he goes, that leaf just reached its end destination. He says, let's go back to that leaf. And he goes to the branch, and then he goes to the tree before, and he goes to the tree before, and he goes to the tree before. And I'm sitting there, I go like, is he answering my question from when I was 10 years old?
Mm-hmm.
And the way he did that, and the way he went back, and everything that you would think, yeah, but if this, boom, there's the answer back. It was 100% that this is a design, that we are living in a designed world. Well, the design needs a designer. So then the step to make to God was a very small step.
I'm a little speechless, Bas. I'm gathering my thoughts right now because this is beautiful. And in the space that you never even could imagine that God would show up, he shows up, right? And it's been said the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled is convincing the world that he doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
And again, you were going down a dark road, shall we say, right? And then it's time to collect and starting to make his presence known because he's cocky and because he's I like to say the devil's a bully, and the devil will flee from us if we stand up to him. And you clearly know how to stand up to bullies here. So I didn't even plan to talk about this because I didn't even realize where this was. So with where you've come in your faith life, to somebody who is new to this, how would you approach or educate about spiritual warfare?
Oh, okay. I can give them examples, right? I can say, when I came back to the faith, I posted a video. So 2 weeks before I got back to the faith, the TV show that I had for 9 years on TV just got okay for 5 more years. Great. My Facebook grew 20,000 people, 20,000 followers a month. Constantly, 5,000 a week, always kept growing. Everything was good. I posted a video about why I got back to the faith. 2 weeks later, the TV show was canceled. 3 months later, I lost a big commentating job. 2 months after that, I got this bad business deal where people thought I did something to fight us. And thankfully, I had everything in writing because I put everything in writing always. And with emails that I have backup because people can always go back on their word. But everything, I start getting attacked like a maniac. It was the most insane thing. I lost 175,000 followers overnight just on Facebook alone, after I said that I got back to the church. So life became very bad. Money came really bad. It was like not a good time. It was in 2014, then we go into 2015. And then my buddy, who asked me to go on the show to listen to that talk, he says, Bas, start doing our daily rosary. Start doing that. And it was literally the first time I did it. I felt different. I felt so much better. And that was just the first time. And I remember also when I was doing the rosary for the first time, I had my eyes closed and I was sitting in the back, a beautiful back garden I had in California. And I heard this weird sound. And I opened my eyes and there's how you call it? That little tiny bird?
Hummingbird?
Yeah,
Hummingbird?
we say it all, hummingbird. It's right in front of me. And I'm looking at him, I go, hey, dude, how are you doing? And he goes, when he sits in front of me, I go, wow, man, you're very cool. I'm just talking to him, and he goes, zoop, he goes up. And I started feeling really good. And the next day, I'm sitting there again. Freaking bird comes back, sits right in front of me. He sits just looking at me. And that's when it all started. Suddenly I felt the lift, and then boom, followers start coming back. And poof, that's suddenly a job. And that was suddenly a thing. It was literally Mary who really got me back. And then when you listen to Father Ripper, he's a good friend of mine. So you hear these crazy stories, but the devil is really afraid of Mary. Like I consecrate myself every morning with a consecration prayer to Mary. That all my attributes, everything for me, she holds and she dispenses it to me. So if the devil wants it, go get it there, and it's not going to happen. Because, I mean, the worst crazy exorcisms you hear, once they call the help in of Mary, is like over and out, So she's very feared. And I noticed it literally after the first two rosaries. And that's why people say, well, how many did you miss? Never. I never missed a rosary, because, that's just to build a habit. That's I got from fighting. Once I commit, I commit. That's what I'm doing. Examination of conscience. Like my morning, if people hear what I do in the morning, it's insane. I sit with the first thing I do is drink a lot of water. I take it, it's called MTE. It's like a nootropic that I use. By the way, this is the only plug I'm going to give, Bas Rutten, for checkout code MTE. Life changing. I can go into the story with that because I had an ablation of the heart, nothing worked. That stuff, amazing stuff. But I drink that a lot, and awesome. With creatine, I go. Oh, that's my first start. Then I make a bath where I put my feet in with hydrogen peroxide, but it's only 12%. 2 ounces in the whole tub. Put my feet in there because now you get oxygen in your system. Once I do that, now I'm for 15 minutes locked in. That's my first prayer to God. This is where I pray for all the blessings that I have. Go over the things that are good. It's endless. Like, getting out of bed, getting out of a clean bed, having a restroom where you can be able to brush your teeth with an electric toothbrush, like all these little tiny things that we don't think about. Blessing. Having clean clothes, having, the dogs. Oh, my, always happy to see me. Or bring out there's so many blessings you have. I mean, it's endless. You can keep on going. Everything that you're looking at, but this whole place here, look at the posters that are there in the background. They made a poster for me. How cool is that? A painting here I have for me. Like, it's all blessings. And then I have a big prayer where I go to my mom and dad who have passed away. I pray for them and all the family members, past, present, and future, so everybody's going to be okay. And then my whole list of friends comes, and a lot of people on my list. And after I did that, I said 15 minutes. I start reading. I do a Divine Intimacy book every day is a page. It's a really good book. As a Catholic, you should get it. It's for priests originally, so it's pretty hard because they have to really put on the thumb screws. And I do the reading. We're in Jeremiah right now. I do the Exodus 90 right now. I'm in the middle of that, so I'm doing that reading as well. Awesome. Then I walk the dogs. Oh no, I work out in this room right here. I did this morning a workout already, a 45-minute workout. I go crazy. I shower, cold showers only, right? Because it's Exodus. I walk the dogs, go to the park, come back, jump in the car, go to mass, and then come back. And then, I just did some shopping and for food because it's a fish day today, Wednesdays and Fridays. So I only eat fish on those days. So that's why I have to get it because I'm a meat guy. But you see, so I do a lot of stuff already before it starts. And then there's a 6 a.m. at Angelus. I do a noon Angelus. I do a 6 p.m. Angelus. I do a Divine Mercy every day. I do the Lady of Fatima prayer. In the evening, I do an examination of conscience every single night. And then I wrap that up with 15 prayers to my favorite saints. And then hopefully that all is going to keep me safe. But so it's a lot what I'm doing, but it didn't start like that. But I realized every time I added something, I started feeling even better. And I go well, let's just keep on adding then. That's how it with Latin also happened. They said, once you start doing things in Latin, the devil really doesn't like that. I heard this crazy story where they were praying Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary for 45 minutes. And this 70-pound or 90-pound old, like over 70 years old, Mexican lady, they couldn't control her. She was possessed. And then suddenly when they start, he says, let's do it in Latin. And they start praying in Latin and she broke free. She stood up and these were big guys holding her. Everybody had a limp. Somehow she got up. She also threw a priest. It was the crazy story. But then suddenly she just felt on her face really hard and started screaming, get her off of me. She started screaming. And when they asked her who, it was Our Lady. She was stomping her down and kept her on the ground. And they got her out. You see, so yeah, if those stories, there's so many of these stories. There's so many of priest stories that touch people who have been blind their entire life and suddenly can see, suddenly can walk. And this is with doctors back up that they say it's impossible. Leo Severino, the guy who got me back into the faith with that talk. The Pasadena was on fire, right? Remember the fires here? Before he left his house, he did epiphany water in all the corners and he put salt in all the corners. His house and his neighbor house was the only houses from the whole entire neighborhood completely gone.
Praise God.
Praise God. And then a priest did the same thing in Santa Monica. Same thing. He was the only house that stayed everywhere. Leo goes to the doctor and they want to have another child. The doctor says, you can't have a child because she doesn't have certain things anymore from the last pregnancy. Whatever happened, he says, well, God willing, he says. And the guy started laughing. He says, well, if she gets pregnant, that's truly a miracle. 2 months later, she gets pregnant and they have another baby. So the guy goes like, okay, you see what I mean? I mean, so all these things, and there's thousands and 10,000s of these miraculous, 100,000s of these healings that you have. And then you just, when you dive into the Bible and because they say, oh, it's just words, everything is fitting. That book was used for archaeological findings and everything is written. But Jesus, they always talk about 15,000 manuscripts about him. Well, we believe Napoleon and Caesar, who had 200, and he's like 15,000 or more. No, he was a real person that was there. And when the Romans even talk about that, the Romans, like Pontius Pilate was writing about it, and other people who were not Christians were writing about Jesus, that holy person that I was. So once you break it down, you go, then you're an idiot not to believe. That's me. But if they start laughing, oh, you believe that? I go, you don't? I mean, that's like the dumbest thing there is. I say, I understand it because I was right there. I was there with you, But, once things physically start happening with something that you can't see, and then you see a curtain fly and all these crazy things happen, you change, You go like, okay, well, there is something. So now I better make sure that I go that straight path up to heaven. And I'm very hard on myself. If I judge, and I will never judge outspoken, but if I just think something for a second, I'm already go, dude, sorry, God, it's going to be an examination of conscience that evening, and maybe it's not even a judgment. It's just like when you see a person who looks really weird or whatever goes on, I just look at them and I go, oh, that's weird. Maybe that's not even a judgment, but my mind already, I can't stand myself just thinking, hey, he looks weird. I should not think that. Although if people are freaking rings in their faces, of course you can say something because they do that to themselves. But if something is wrong with them, physically or something. But again, I never think negative, but I just want to see the person. I don't want anything else. That's the same with black, but it doesn't matter what color you are. That's a problem we have in this freaking world right now. Everything gets separated. We're all human. We have the same DNA, same blood. You can't tell by blood from who it came, what race. You can't. No, that should tell you that everybody is the freaking same, and it upsets me that they constantly are doing that, and they do it on purpose because, that's conquer and divide, right? That's Julius Caesar used that, but a guy before him already used that, and that's how they do it. Oh, no, because they cause a lot of stress. There's another name for it. I'm blanking on it now. They cause a lot of stress because then the people are fighting with each other. And then the government can do whatever the hell they want to do because nobody's paying attention. And I truly believe that's what's going on in this world.
There's so much here. And I want to, if you were to write a manuscript of your life or an autobiography, you may want to tell it as the story of three women or the story of three beautiful women in my life. Your mother, your wife, and then the mother who came in here. And Bas, thank you because your testimony here is a testimony to the love of God, operable here. That if as St. Augustine said, if not for the grace of God, there go I. Right, yeah. And you're right. The evil one wants to separate us, and I think there's a deep reason why we were. Even our own small example, our podcast got shut down yesterday because he didn't want this message getting out here. But remember, God will never be outdone here. So my brothers who are hearing this, especially, and our sisters who are hearing this, right? You're never too far from grace. You're never too far from the love of God. And the question is, will you open yourself up to what he has for you? And he's going to use everything in the struggles here. So, Bas, I think for our audience and bringing this part of our conversation to a landing here, no one would ever assume that you are not that you're just a casual, laissez-faire, go with the wind kind of guy. That's not you, right?
Yeah.
And for those who are not really practicing the faith, or they're maybe getting the insight that they want more for their life, to go from 0 to 1,000 like that seems very intimidating. So, what would be 2 or 3 practical ways that a man, especially, because we want to fight like a Catholic man, can start rebuilding their life? What would you say to that?
Oh, well, it all starts with prayer. And prayer is not, hey, God, let me make $1 million. Prayer is not, no, you're asking for blessings and blessings for other people. A lot of people, they want to win the lottery and they want to, he's not going to answer that, and you got to be persistent with it. And if you ask for humility, what I found out, like I really can't stand, and I had to really work on that. Now I don't mind. Like it happened again today in mass, the people who have to be answering for before everybody else. The Lord be with you. Where's your spirit? That guy. And they have to stand up before everybody else, sit down before everybody else. I know where to stand. I know where to sit. It's like, please stop that. And then every time I want to ask God, I say, could you help me with that? And what he does, he puts me right in the middle of 3 of them, because that's his way of, hey, here you have it. Learn that.
You can grow.
So I give you an example. It was a little bit back, very short, 10 days. I've been really good with anger, because I knew that I had to nip that in the bud because it's still from my childhood, all that stuff. And there happened something at an event. We went to this big event and everything happened and somebody triggered me and I stay cool and they didn't do anything. But I was so angry. I was angry. I was literally thinking about when I was a kid with the freaking knife in my hand. And I think though maybe they couldn't see it on the outside, but to me, once I came home, and I think the bouncers when we left, because they all know me, of course, hey, boss, I probably didn't say anything because I was livid. It completely lost it. And this has been, thinking 12 years ago that something like that happened to me because I don't have that, and that till this day, I'm still in church saying, I'm so sorry for this. It's like, it affects me so much that I could not control myself. Now, at the outside, it looked good. But I knew what was going on in the inside. It's really hard. But you see that, because I'm writing a lot, I do a lot of talking, public speaking for events. I got one at Ave Maria right now in Florida, a big college where I'm talking. And I'm going over my talk and I go, oh my God, it was God. It was God who gave me that experience. And when I realized that yesterday I realized it. And then immediately my whole life started going, oh, okay. Oh my God, this is good. Now, so I needed that. Somehow I needed that angry thing in order to work out the last little things that I had, probably with pride, right? It's always pride, because how dare they do that to me, but it put me on, and now I know, now I have this thing, I'm constantly saying it, non in commotione dominus, right? God is not in the storm. So anything that I always have a problem with, because I have these crazy scenarios, like if I walk on the street and the car stops, because it happened, and the guy started challenging me. He said, well, you want to dance, old man? I go, yes, please. And he was like, but then, of course, once he got out of the car, I started laughing, walking towards him. He was like, okay, something is wrong. He got in his car and he goes out. But I mean, so these things happen. And now I'm thinking already ahead, what if this would happen? How would I, you're like, no, stop it, these stupid scenarios. That happened to you once in the last 2 years. It's not a thing that is there. So how do I stop every negative thought that you have in your mind? Start with that. You think God is not in the storm. So if you're thinking something bad about somebody, or you're thinking whatever might happen, if it's anything bad cannot come from God, it's the evil one. And once you start recognizing those things, and then he's going to feed you a really nice one, right? It starts very slow. Like, oh, so some girl gets attacked and you're going to have to defend and go, boom, there's the violence again. Ah, okay, I got you, devil. He tries to hide it by something else, slipping something else in that makes it look like it's okay to do it. And then boom, God is not in the storm. Every negative thought that you have, get that out. And once you start that with that, and that's humility, it's going to hit you hard. If you're one of those guys who hold the door open for somebody and then the person doesn't thank you and you get angry, your pride, that is you. All these things, letting people in traffic, all these things, you don't do it for a thank you. You do it because it's the right thing to do. If you get offended by it, not do it. Don't do it. I don't even look at people if they thank me. On purpose, I don't, because I don't care. I just want to let them in. I don't need to thank you, and once you start playing like that and you do it over and over again, watch what happens to your life. It becomes so much nicer, because everything that you tell yourself, you control your mind. It does not control you. but people let other things control their minds. It's the other way around. No, you do not command the world, but you do command your response to it, right? So, and once you start doing this, your responses are going to be so much easier, so much relaxed. But I'm telling you, it takes a long time. It took me years in order to get that. And you got to keep on doing it. It's like a vice. You got to keep pushing it in there, because once you let a few beers coming in again, if you're an alcoholic, boom, it's right away back. And the
Yes.
devil is laughing. Oh, yeah, but I was 30 years sober. Guess what? They're outside time and space. They laugh. For them, it's now. 30 years ago, it's now. So it doesn't matter when it happens. If you do, oh, it was 30 years. No, for them, it's now. He won. He already won. You see what I mean? So once you start thinking about that, you become so much more relaxed and stop the scrolling. That's what Exodus 90, when I did it the first time, I think 7 years ago, it's when it started. And that killed 90% of my social media right away afterwards also. Now I realized how much time I was wasting on stupid social media. And then all the other things. Like when I got back to the church, Porsche, oh, get rid of the Porsche. Oh, get rid of my watches. Get rid of all these things that I had. Gave it away. I go, I don't want it anymore. Because, yes, I like it. But am I really doing it for me? Or am I doing it for for what people think of me? And I realized there's a lot of that in there as well. It's a pride thing. And just start disconnecting. You don't need the latest new phone. You don't need the latest computer with more. You're not going to use all that stuff. Don't worry about it. Have what you have. Be thankful for what you have right now, even when it's small, even when the day it's a hard day. That's one of the prayers I start in the morning. It's a really good one. He says, today is going to be the best day of my life, not because it will be easy, not because nothing will happen, but because God has given me this day, and no day given by God is without purpose. You control your mind; it does not control you. You do not command the world, but you do command the way you respond. So today, I choose patience over fear, faith over doubt, and love over reaction. And then the last one is what I also mentioned here. I am grateful for what I have right now, even if it's small, even if the world feels heavy. So, and even when it's small, when I did that line, if I'm grateful for what I have right now, even when it's small, I know there's a lot of people who don't have a lot of things. And it got me crying the first time I heard that line, because I go, I am so blessed with everything that I have. And I mean, whatever I want, I have. But it's not big things, because I don't need big things. I don't need the cars and all that stuff. But my life, my health, the kids, everything is so. It is so good. Let me turn this thing off.
Sure.
And it's all because the disconnecting. So I would really start, if you want to go to the faith, please see that, even if you're an atheist, just become a better person, Like a line that I always use. When they ask me what kind of man I want to be, I want to be a man who can overcome his weaknesses, vices, and imperfections. A man who's not a slave to his passions, emotions, and desires, but just a guy who's in control of himself. And if you can do that, and then what is suffering for the church? That's another line. Suffering is saying no to the things that will give you pleasure, but steer you away from God. Which means, if you're an atheist, things say no to the things that will give you pleasure, but are not good for your body and mind and soul. Well, they say I don't have a soul, but yeah, the earth is also not flat, right? You do have a soul, so it doesn't really matter. But those things are constantly in my head, and then everything happens for a reason. You just have to recognize what it is. If somebody's making you angry, that is God giving you that person to you, and you have to decide how to deal with that. And once you start dealing it without pride, and you're just relaxing, you say, hey, listen, man, and you try to reason with, yeah, but then keep on screaming, then just walk away from the situation. Do not start doing it. And you keep doing that like a vice, like I said, stopping it the whole time, and suddenly it becomes easy. It's like the first day after alcohol, when you stop alcohol, hard. Second day, hard. Third day, in a week, and then you realize, wait a minute, the more I say no, the stronger I get, and the easier it becomes for me to say no. Okay, now that saying no, that suffering to do the right thing, that is what's called virtue. And once you claim that, just stick with it. And once you do that, life is going to be freaking great. But prayer needs to be in there as well. Oh, I know. That's a long answer. I'm sorry, Pete.
I was beautiful, boss. On this, like I asked for you again. This is the gift that keeps on giving. Who you are, boss. You ask for 2 or 3, he gives you a laundry list here, right? So from there, my dear audience who's hearing this, right? If pick 1 or 2 off that list, start with that. I would recommend on my end, start with that. Start with gratitude. Establish that attitude of gratitude, realizing that the emotions, the difficulties that you have in your life are nothing compared to when we have gratitude, and we can see the small things and being grateful in those small moments, then we can be grateful for the big things that come in here, right? And also, boss, like especially there's this theme throughout your life of moving from very tough situation growing up with asthma and eczema and dealing with those things, being bullied, but then working through your mindset that I can overcome these things. I can be difficult. I can go through difficult moments. This is exactly what it means to be a Catholic man in many cases because of the difficulties. God never promised that we'd have an easy life, but he promised he would be with us. And the question is, will we be with him? So
that's the thing. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I said to people, just don't lie to yourself. You know, if you truly do not lie to yourself, you're going to be just fine. You go, I don't lie to myself. Oh, really? Did you ever say, hey, after this weekend, I'm going to start working out again? After this weekend, I'm going to start watching my food, watching my drinks, watching my things. If you ever said that and you didn't do it, you lied to yourself. You see, so once you stop lying to yourself, and you're the most important person in the world, you should be the most important person in the world to yourself. And that's why you should never lie to yourself, because it all starts with you. If you want to change the world, well, you better fix yourself first. You cannot be completely out of control. This is what I want to get back to the faith. You know, I thought I right away had it. I was telling people how to stop drinking while I'm drinking. I'm telling people how to stop drugs while I'm doing drugs. And then I read Matthew, right? Matthew 7, 3-5, the splinter in your brother's eye, you know? And I go, oh my God, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. So that was my first big verse that I read. And I go, okay, yeah, this is going to end now. So, yeah, man, just be true to yourself, true to your word. And if you really do that, that's Catholic. Because if you really care about your mind, body, and soul, that's it. That's the only thing you need to care about. And then you're going to be just fine.
Awesome. So don't be a hypocrite. I'm right with you on that. And I thought I was the only one, but boss, thank you for knowing that I'm not alone in that. And again, it's a matter of this whole project of masculinity is, especially Catholic masculinity, is looking at where the level where Jesus calls us to, where we're at, and then every day through grace, let's shrink that just a little bit more, a little bit more. Right.
That's it.
Through grace. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Amen. Amen. Boss, do you have a couple more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like to turn the conversation, and again, first and foremost, thank you for the wisdom that has been shared here. We have a tradition on the Redeemed Vision podcast it's called the 12. These are 12 questions, and the encouragement here is don't overthink them. Just kind of off the top of your head. They're kind of fun. They're going to be about you to a degree. And so helps our audience just to get to know you a little bit more. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Number 1, what is your favorite cheat day food?
I'm going to say something, you know. Oh, cheat. It's a sabayon sauce that I make myself. It's a warm sauce from wine and sugar and egg yolks. I used to be a chef. I went 4 years to culinary school, and that with ice cream, like vanilla ice cream. That is like the best. But I'm this guy. I eat insane amount of carbs a day. I will not gain. I will not do anything. I can lay in bed for 6 months. I will look exactly the same. People go like, how is this possible? I have no idea. My father had the same thing. Brother has the same thing. My daughter has the same thing. So, yeah. So for me, cheating, I can do whatever I want to eat. I just don't do it because I know it's not healthy for me.
Sure. Okay. All right. But a little bit of topping with ice cream. I'll take that. Number 2, what is the most memorable Christmas gift you received growing up?
Oh, that's a hard one because, you know, in Holland, you have Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, you know, the guy from Spain, and he's on December 5th. And then we have Christmas after that. And it's also present. So it wasn't something, I don't remember. I complete blank. Yep. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. Just wondering. All right. Number 3, if you could train with any saint, who would it be?
Saint Sebastian.
That's
That's
easy.
my original name, right? Sebastian. So that's right. He's the patron saint of athletes. So he's always in my prayers as well. That guy. Yeah, he was a badass. He got martyred twice. Right? They shot him full with arrows. Survived that. Went back to Diocletian and proclaimed the same thing. And this time they just made sure that he was dead. They clubbed him to death. But I mean, for him to go back and to keep on promoting the faith, that's pretty ballsy. And he was a badass too. He was in the Praetorian Guard. So he was like, that's like MI6 as a special air forces service. That's all that combined. That were like the highest elite protectors of the king, of the emperor at the time.
Awesome. Number 4, if saints had MMA fights, which saint do you think would surprise everyone with their skills?
Well, if it's not about not quitting, I would say Saint Bartholomew. I mean, when I saw him, I saw a statue of him. I tell this to people. I go like, my God, that guy was an athlete. There's not a gram of fat on him. And then I realized it's because they flayed him. They skinned him alive. And he did not change anything. And at the end, they just chopped his head off because he was not, he saw Jesus. And there was nobody who could say that it wasn't. So if we talk about perseverance, that's the guy right there. I think if they come in with a potato peeler and I told a lie and they start skinning my finger, I think I start talking already. So,
well, may the Lord give us perseverance, and may we not run into potato peelers, but may we run the race well. Come, Lord Jesus. Number 5, if heaven has a martial arts training program, what do you think that looks like?
I think it will be a non-competing, probably. I think it would look like capoeira, the Brazilian art, that dancing with the kicks and everything, but they don't really hit each other. It's like goes in front of their faces, and they're just like, it's a really beautiful capoeira, Capoeire. It's a Brazilian martial arts capoeira. Really? It will pop up right away. It's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful kicks and all these crazy movements, but they don't connect with each other. So I think it would be something like that, just for the skill, not actually to make contact.
I'm intrigued now to go check this out, and a little taste of heaven. Thank you.
Yeah.
Number 6, if Jesus were to throw, speaking of contact versus non-contact, okay, if Jesus were to throw one punch in the Bible, which story do you think it would have been in?
Meaning he didn't like the story, or?
No. If in the story Jesus is there, he throws one punch. What do you think it would have been?
Yeah, I'm thinking now when with the sellers, right, when they defiled the house and he was throwing on tables the punch. I think Jesus would. Yeah, you see, this is a hard question. So, if Jesus would slap somebody, he would do it from this side. Because a lot of people say this, right? He turned the other cheek. But you know the real meaning behind that, right?
Tell me.
Okay, so it's really weird. So this is hitting somebody in the face who you disrespect, who's below you. So when they do this with the backhand slap, then Jesus said you turn the other cheek. If they hit you from this side, that means you're on the same level as them. So they're probably not going to hit you, because only the bad thing to do is with the backhand slap, and that's when he said turn the other cheek, because then he makes himself the same. Yeah, so I would think that Jesus would do probably that, because that will be you're the same as me. It's not a punch; it's at least a slap, you know. Because I knock people out with open hands in Japan, right? That was the rule there, and I start dropping people with. So it's very possible to knock somebody out. Trust me, because I had a lot of knockouts.
I believe you.
But yeah, Jesus would do it this way, not the backhand slap.
Just to knock us out, give us a little humility, and then pick us up. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Number 7, if you were to give a 10-minute talk to your 16-year-old self, what's your opening line?
My opening line would be something that I thought of, that only I knew. So whatever it is, something that I kept secret for everybody, I would start with that, so that he knows that it's really him. who's talking to him.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. It instantly connects creates that connection. Beautiful.
Yep.
8. Bas, if you had one superpower, what would it be?
Controlling minds, right? If you imagine you could do that, the world would be so at peace, you know. Now, this is because I truly believe so. But then again, you know, how strong am I? I know I'm a weak guy because there's certain things I still can't so know. It's like with AI. So they say AI is going to take over. There's nothing that can stop it. Oh, God can stop it. There's no way AI is smarter than God. It's simply not happening. So correct. I said, when something like that would happen and would take over, then God will find like a St. Joseph kind of guy who he absolutely knows will not misuse his power and will transfer that power into him and do that. You see, so that's like kind of how I see it. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Okay, number 9. Bas, have you watched The Chosen?
Yes.
Okay, so impossible question to follow up. What's your favorite episode?
Oh, well, I was just watching when he raised Lazarus from the dead, you know, and then after that with St. Thomas, his girlfriend, that he didn't save her, but he needed to have this with a bigger audience, and it's all, you know, and then St. Thomas is still, those things are really good for me because St. Thomas, he's still with him, even after it happened, because he knows. You know, he's seen him turning the water into wine and all that stuff, you know, so that's why he's still there, but he just needs to know why it is. And I think what now is going to happen, because now he's going to be condemned, right? The passion is going to come up. Now, that's where I am right now.
Lovely.
So, but what I do like with him is the little jokes that they make, you know, and then he's dancing, and that is literally what Jesus would be like. That's the problem a lot of people have who don't understand the faith. If I say we're doing a retreat like once or twice a year, we do with a bunch of guys. It's like a group, and it's a real fun group, but we do a lot, and everybody thinks that we're all day long sitting praying there. I go, guys, you have no idea how much fun we have. You know, everybody has fun. You don't think Jesus was dancing at the wedding at Cana and he wasn't doing this? Of course he was dancing. He was enjoying life. That's what he wants us to be like him, right? Well, that's it. I'm dancing. Come on, guys, dance. Have fun. Of course he's cracking jokes, and of course he was doing these things. We're not bored. I mean, we are living life to the fullest, actually, because we're off asceticism. We're off all these crazy vices. So we have time for ourselves and more intrigued. Everything is better. We're all looking for that dopamine hit. We need to look for the serotonin. Serotonin, that's happiness. Pleasure, that is dopamine. And we cannot be happy with pleasure. We need to have more. And there's the drinking, and there's the sex, and there's everything that happens, the anger, the wrath. I mean, look at the 7 deadly sins, right? Your pride, wrath, greed, envy, lust, sloth, and gluttony. Look at them in the world right now. They're all at freaking 80, 90%. All of them. You know, and why would we do these crazy things? Because they all have a form of pleasure in it, right? That's every vice has that. You know, alcohol makes you feel good. Okay, that's the pleasure. So say no to the pleasure. That's what we call suffering. The ugliest one is, if you think about it, the 7 deadly sins is envy. Envy is the only one that doesn't have pleasure in it. It doesn't give you any pleasure. Yeah. So try to really nip that one in the butt, which is hard because nowadays everybody wants what you have. They just don't want to do the work that you had to do in order to get there. Yep. That's it.
Just say no to communism, kids, and learn how to grow in virtue. Right. Yeah. Very well said. Number 10, Bas, if you could get everyone to see the world as you do, what would that world look like?
I'm telling you, my life is so like I said, that anger thing that happened like last week, it was something I never had. Every person who knows me will tell you the same thing. I always up. I'm never down. I don't, if it comes from my childhood, I always try to be the class clown, always say, you know, my class is always half full. I just enjoy life. And I think a lot of people will enjoy life, you know, and a lot of people can make jokes to each other again. Like, you know, like the things we say to our friends, you know, but you know, they're real friends. If I say to a person that doesn't know me, he thinks I'm a rude person. So you can't see the joke, you know, because everybody lives in a different world right now. Everything is an attack. Oh my God, did you say that? No, man, I'm just kidding. I'm just making a joke here. So I just stopped doing that outside, but I do it with all my buddies. We're having a great time. So the world will be a very happy place. There will be a lot of dancing. There will be no anger, and everybody will go, you know what? You're right. Peace out. Everybody happy. That's what I think. So
I love it. And as a side note, anybody who's wondering how Bas dances, just check out Here Comes the Boom. Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
All right.
They asked for a crazy dance, and I looked up hakken, which is a weird dance with all these bald guys in Holland, and that was kind of that. I go, oh, I'm going to do that. Yes.
Gorgeous. It was hilarious. We cracked up. Totally.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Number 11. Besides your name and date, what do you want written on your tombstone?
Yeah, everything about something about my character, not about opinions about me, not about fighting, not about something about that I will, if I see a person in problem, whatever problem it is, it doesn't need to be fighting thing or something, I would just really like to help the people. It's just he was there for the people. He was really trying to help people. Something like along that line. Because like the speaking I'm doing now, I truly feel that's what God has given me right now to do. And why is that? Because I constantly have these crazy ideas that pop a minute and people go like, man, you should be speaking ever. I was at the Legatus one, the big one in January, and people were like, my God, this is really great. We never heard it like that. And I think it is because I truly enjoy it. Because all the things that I'm touching on are the things that I use myself to fix myself. And I have ADHD, man. I might have lost the age, but I'm still, my mind can be at 6 places at the same time. So I need structure and I need habits and all these things, these lines that I just quote at you, all these things that I'm saying, I use that on myself and it helped fix me. And because I feel so good right now, I'm a different guy. I always tried to fill that hole, and that was the pleasure hole. More attention, more this, more. And once you realize that's not it, you need to go for happiness, man. And happiness you can buy. You can only get it by living the correct way. And we all fight for it for here on earth, like athletes and singers, and we do anything in our power to achieve that. So why don't we use more of that power to achieve eternal happiness in heaven? I mean, it's like we don't have any foresight. We focus on the things that we want to have right here, things that we can't take with us. Forget about that. Just become a good person. Forget about money, love of money. Ooh, that's an ugly one. Don't. Financial security. What about that? Just do that. You don't have these $500 billion in debt. What are you going to do with it? It's stupid. It's all stupid. People are all mesmerized. Millionaires have some of the highest suicide rates in the world. Why is that? They can buy anything, yes, but they can't buy happiness. And this is the crazy thing, right? I have this literally in my talk. So happiness is serotonin, and dopamine, that's pleasure, right? You know what kills serotonin? Dopamine.
Oh, yeah.
So the more you buy, the more you want things for nothing, the unhappier you become. And that's why these millionaires have such a high suicide rate, because they think they can buy everything. But the more you buy, once the money it's like getting things for no work. It makes you unhappy. Trust me on this. Because, you get you a car. Okay, now let's say it gives you a Beamer. Okay, well, next year is another Beamer. Better be a better one. Because otherwise, that dopamine hit that you had a year ago is not going to be as high. If it's a downsized car, you're already unhappy. But they give it to you. But no, it needs to be better. You see what I mean? And you don't do anything for it. Once you start working for something, and that's what my parents instilled in me. I had like 5 jobs when I was a kid. They said you have to work for what you want. Got a stereo for my birthday? No speakers. No speakers? Yeah, you're going to have to make the money yourself. Hated it at that moment, but loved it afterwards. Because that set me on the path. I was stocking groceries. I was working 2 newspaper jobs. I was working as on the farm, and I was dishwashing at the pizzeria. 5 jobs that I had. But I always had money. Because I made it myself. And then buying something for something that you worked hard for, that's a great thing. I don't want to do the lawn. No, but once you're done with the lawn, you do feel good, right? You see what I mean? So you need this is with opposites, right? If you don't know what suffering is, you will never know what good is. We know it now because we're on this earth, but if you're born in a world without suffering, then everything stops to exist. We're just gonna be. There's no emotions, there's no nothing. You're just walking around as puppets. But because there's an opposite, you know what good feels like. Because you know what bad feels like. Hate, peace, all these things, you need to have it. But why is there so much hate? It's because of us. And if you live by the rules that God tells us to live, we won't be in trouble. Look at the 10 Commandments. You do all that and don't break the 7 deadly sins. Boom, you're done. Nobody will have a problem. Treat thy neighbor as thyself. Right? Love God with everything you have. The 2 biggest commandments in the world, Jesus said.
Yeah.
If you're an atheist, forget about that. Number 2, treat people like yourself. We all know this line. We all say it, but nobody's doing it. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. We say it every day in the prayer. None of us is doing that. Think about that. You see, and those things I write down and I read and I read and I read. I want to fix that. Now somebody's angry to me. He just has a bad day. Let it go. Whatever. You gotta let it go. Is it hard? Very hard. But you can work on it and it becomes less. You just have to work on it. I get so excited about this, and that's why I want to say these things, because I know how to connect the dots. That's my thing with teaching. If I'm a good fighter, but I'm a great coach. And it's not to say, I know I am. I see somebody 2 minutes, I know exactly what is wrong and how we can fix it. Immediately I see that, because that's just my gift. I know I have that as a gift. And all these things that I used in teaching, adding comedy to it and doing these little things, make it, because then people remember. If it's boring, they won't remember. But if you add a little comedy and doing things to it, now people are going to, oh my God, this is kind of cool. You see, and that's what I do with the faith now too. And again, because it helped me. It's not like I come up with something new. Well, I just learn, fix, use it on me. Oh, this works. Keep it. Write it down. Boom. This is what I'm going to say. That didn't work. That didn't work. Oh, that works. Whoop. Use that one. And I just keep on building. So
we're going to need a bigger tombstone. That's what you're saying. I got it.
Yeah. that was the answer for the tombstone. Oh boy. You see, I just don't shut the heck up. I got decorum. I have to work on that. That's intemperance, right? One of the cardinal virtues. I'm too much. And body movements, it's like that's what I have to work on. I'm sorry.
There's nothing to apologize for. This is beautiful. Okay, so here we go. So here's the last question for you on this list. And we may just have to do this again. Number 12. Bas, why be Catholic?
Because it's the one faith that Jesus Christ established. The rest is not. And for the people that are listening and they say it's not, perhaps Siri. Wait. Who started Calvinism? John Calvin was an influential thinker of the Protestant Reformation. Now, you can do all that with every denomination that is out there, and then you ask, who started the Catholic Church? And then the answer will be Jesus Christ. Do I have the sound off? What is going on? Oh, wait, I'll open it up. Who started the Catholic faith? The Catholic faith was founded by Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And that's the only one faith that is going up there. And I truly believe in this, because we're all in the same structure. That's why I like Latin Mass also, because around the world, wherever you go, it's all the same. No changes. Everything is the same. And I'd like to have a sure shot to heaven. I think it's unhealthy to think that if you kill somebody and you're in your car, you get away from the crime scene and you say, Jesus, I'm sorry, man. I love you, though. I love you. I have faith in you, and you're going to go to heaven. I don't think it works like that. Otherwise, you wouldn't have given us those 10 commandments. I think it's harder. And I think you do have to go to confession, because it's hard. And we don't want to do that. Oh, so it's easier maybe not to do it. Well, that's you. And I'm not going to say they're not going to go to heaven. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, if there's one shot, a true shot, I take the Catholic faith, because that's established by Jesus Christ.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your wisdom today, Bas, especially your honesty, your humility here. And I think that countless men and women who hear this are going to be inspired, but especially those men to take the next step in their journey of faith and integrity. So, Bas, hang on the line here. After we're done here, I'm just going to close up here. So, Bas, any parting shot you want to offer to those who are here? listen to this?
No, like I said, I think for me, that's the biggest one when I told myself, be true to yourself. If you never break the word that you said to yourself, I think you're going to be just fine. But it's hard. It's hard to attain. It's not an easy thing. If I'm sitting here all talking and it looks like I got my life completely under control, I don't. There's always certain things that you have to work on. Now, did I clean up 90%? Yes, I did. But there's still a lot of work to go. I still probably go to purgatory. I'm pretty sure I'm going to, instead of straight up to heaven. So that's your answer.
Well, may I be in the ring with you in purgatory, and you can train me and get me into the big show. Yes, exactly. So, Bas Rutten, thank you for being on the Redeemed Vision podcast.
Oh, hey, karate greeting. Hosu. That's Jesus right there for you. Everybody says os. It's not os. It's hosu. Hosu. O-S-U. It's Japanese. It comes from two Japanese words. Oshi, push. Shinobu, endure. To push and endure. I had a picture from when I was in Rome from the pillar that Jesus got scorched at. I have that picture. I want to make it into a poster. Underneath I put hosu. Push and endure.
I want a copy. I'm excited.
Right? That could be cool.
Well, Bas, hold the line. I'll be right with you in a second. And to all of those who are hearing this, if you were encouraged, challenged, and convicted today, I encourage you to do two things. Number one, share this episode with two others. Share this. And second, leave a review so others can find this message. And remember, we believe nothing is wasted and everything is redeemable. So may everything we do give glory to the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, who gives us the redeemed vision. God bless you.
The Redeemed Vision podcast is an outreach of Freedom Coaching. To learn more, check out freedom-coaching.net and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and MeWe.